He liked her photo. That's it. One tap. And somehow you're lying there at 2 a.m., writing the entire breakup in your head, where he meets her, when he starts texting back slower, the exact tone of voice he'll use when he finally lets you down easy. You haven't been replaced. Nothing actually happened. A photo got a like, but your whole body is already bracing, tightening, going cold, like it did once before, for real. So here's what I want to do in the next few minutes. I'm not going to tell you to communicate more or just trust them. You've heard that 100 times. It doesn't work. And honestly, part of you already knows why it doesn't work. Because this was never really about them. The jealousy, the checking, the 2 a.m. spiral. It's an old wound wearing a new face. And once you can see the actual shape of it, you can't unsee it. That's the part that finally changes something. Not another tip. Seeing it. Let me describe your version of it, and you tell me how close I get. It's not that you think they're cheating. Most of the time, logically, you know they're not. It's quieter than that. It's the way your stomach drops when they take 4 hours to reply. It's rereading a text 3 times to find the coldness hiding in it. It's noticing who liked their post before you've even said good morning. It's feeling completely, totally fine, right up until they seem a little too happy about something that has nothing to do with you. And then comes the part that actually hurts the most. The shame. Because you hate this version of yourself. You were supposed to be the easy one, the chill one, the low-maintenance one who doesn't do drama. And here you are, refreshing a screen, running the math on a reply time, doing the exact thing you swore you would never become. So you hide it. You don't say that photo bothered me. You say I'm fine, and you go quiet, and you carry it alone. Which, by the way, makes it worse. But we'll get to that. Here's the reframe, and I really want you to sit with this one for a second. What you're feeling isn't actually jealousy. Jealousy is about them, what they have, what they're doing. This is about you. Specifically, it's about a part of you that decided, a long time ago, that being left wasn't a risk. It was a schedule, not if, when. Think about the difference. A genuinely secure person feels a flicker of, maybe a small pang, and then moves on with their day. You don't get a flicker, you get a full-length rehearsal of the abandonment, cast, script, ending, and all. And that's the clue. Your nervous system isn't overreacting to a photo, it's reacting to a memory. It has run this exact scene before, for real, and it swore it would never get caught off guard like that again. Now I want to be careful here, because this is the exact place where this stuff usually turns into a cliché. Blame your parents, roll credits. That's not what this is. It's more specific, and honestly more gentle than that. Somewhere in your history, love came with a catch. Maybe the attention was there one week and just gone the next, and no one explained why. Maybe a parent's warmth depended on their mood, so you learned to read a room before you learned to read a book. Maybe someone who promised they'd stay simply didn't. Or maybe nothing big happened at all. Because here's the thing people miss. It doesn't take a dramatic story. Kids are smart, and they're always watching. It only takes learning one time that the people you depend on can disappear without warning, and a child will quietly reorganize their entire personality around never being blindsided like that again. You became watchful, tuned in, good at sensing the exact moment before something goes wrong. That wasn't a flaw. That was a brilliant little survival system built by a kid who needed it. The problem is, that system never got the memo that it's over. So now, in a relationship that is genuinely, actually fine, you're still standing near the exits, scanning, bracing, not because you're broken, because it once worked, and nobody ever told your nervous system the war had ended. It's still on duty, guarding a door that nobody's trying to walk out of. Okay, here's the part almost nobody says out loud, and it's the most important part of this whole thing. Sometimes, without ever deciding to, you make the fear come true. You get a little distant to see if they'll come after you. You pick the small fight to test whether they'll stay. You go cold, you withdraw, you accuse, you brace so hard for the ending that, slowly, quietly, you start writing it yourself. And if they finally do pull back, some sad, tired part of you almost relaxes. It goes, "See? I knew it." As if being right about the abandonment is somehow worth more than the love was. As if bracing for the fall hurt less than the fall, even though you just caused the fall. I'm not telling you this to make you feel like the villain. I'm telling you because this is the single spot where everything can change. The fear isn't only predicting the ending, sometimes it's producing it. And the moment you can actually catch yourself in the act, that is the moment you get a choice you have never had before. So what do you do with this? And I'll be honest with you. It is not a 5-step morning routine. It's smaller and less impressive than that. It starts with catching the spiral and naming it, out loud, if you have to. This is the old wound. This is not today's evidence. You're not trying to shut the feeling off. You can't. And trying just makes it louder. You're just slipping one small gap between the feeling and the 2 a.m. text you're 2 seconds from sending. And that gap is everything. In that gap, you're not the scared kid anymore. And you're not the adult firing off an accusation either. You're just a person feeling something old, choosing not to hand it to someone who didn't cause it. It's a tiny act. It won't feel powerful. Do it anyway. Then comes the harder rep. You let a good thing be good, without auditing it. You feel that itch to test them, to poke it, to make them prove it one more time. And you don't. You just sit in the deeply uncomfortable feeling of being cared about, which, weirdly, can feel more dangerous than being left. That discomfort? That right there is the whole work. It's not a mistake. It's the muscle. Because every single time you don't act on the fear, you're quietly teaching your nervous system a new ending to an old story. It doesn't happen in a night. It's not a lightning bolt of healing. It's a rep, and then another one. 100 small moments where the story almost repeats, and this time, it doesn't. That's how the pattern actually loosens, not by force, by repetition. And I want you to know what this looks like on the other side, because no one shows you that part. It's not that the flicker never comes back. It might. It's that when it does, it doesn't run the whole show anymore. The photo gets a like, and you notice the old feeling stand up, and then sit back down. You stay. You breathe. You don't fire it at the person next to you. That's not fixed. That's free. So here's what I'll leave you with. The fact that you love this hard, that you brace this much, that you feel a like on a photo in your entire body, it does not mean you're too much. It means that somewhere, someone made staying feel uncertain, and you have been carrying that ever since, all on your own. That is not a character flaw. That is a kid who adapted beautifully, still running an old program, waiting for permission to put it down. And the right person, the right one, doesn't need you to stop feeling it overnight. They just need you to name it, instead of firing it at them. If any part of this felt like I was reading your mind, tell me which part down in the comments. I read them, and honestly, the specific ones help other people feel less alone than anything I could ever say. If you want the deeper version of this, the childhood patterns underneath all of it, that's what this whole channel is quietly about. So stick around. I'll see you in the next one.